And do not forget, the platform is entirely funded by you and its commercial activities, not by the taxpayer organisation. We are a media organisation. We need your help. We need your subscription. You can buy our merch. In fact, I'm wearing the hoodie today to keep me warm while I get over the cold. You can listen to us on the app, which is downloadable for free, on the website, which you can access for free. To get a little bit more, to time shift what we do, to watch us on video, you become a Platform Plus member. You will also access the many articles that we publish during the course of a year. Articles often that will not be published by other news media because they're a little bit timid. I am really looking forward and have been looking forward all week to our next guest who joins me in the studio now. We spoke to him briefly on Monday. His name is Musa al-Gharbi. He is visiting from the United States as a guest of the Free Speech Union. He's pushing paper, but he's also sharing a message about what it is to be woke in the year 2025. His book is called We Have Never Been Woke, and it has a look at the new virtue signalling elite who seem to be taking over the world. We've got our very own example of this. Jacinda Ardern is most certainly, I would imagine, one of those who has said she's never been woke. But most certainly is. I am really pleased to have you in the studio. It's Musa. Mm-hmm. Musa, lovely to have you with us. And I want to find out, firstly, just a little bit more about you and your background. Now, you're an academic. I'd say a journalist or information academic from the United States. That's where you hail from. That's where your family hail from. Why write about this?
So in the introduction to the book, I talk a little bit about kind of how I came to be almost possessed by the sort of questions that I try to explore in the book. Basically, the story is, so before I was a fancy nerd at Columbia University, I worked a bunch of like regular people jobs. I was a shoe salesman in the mall at the local place that was literally the last thing I was doing before I became an Ivy League intellectual. So I did freight, so I like unloaded trucks and loaded boxes.
It's a hell of a journey.
Things like this, and so. And
how did you go from being a shoe salesman, from being Al Bundy, to in the hallowed halls of intellectual pursuit? What happened?
Yeah, well, so that was a weird journey too. So I started at community college, and then I taking classes off and on. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life after I abandoned my first calling. And then
what was your first calling?
My first plan in life, plan A, and it was like the only plan that I had at first, was to be a Catholic priest. And then I had this crisis of faith, and I ended up abandoning that calling and becoming kind of an atheist for a while. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, so I was just taking classes off and on at community college for many years. And then eventually, two things happened. First, I found Islam, and so I had a kind of different structure and purpose. And then I also got married.
So you converted to Islam?
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
And then I also got married, which also forced me to get my act together, because I was absolutely blown away that this person that I deeply admired decided to hitch herself to my very rickety wagon.
Now, I'm just checking, just the one wife.
Yeah.
Okay, just the one wife.
Two kids, yeah.
Okay.
And so...
Now, can I just ask, see, I knew there was a backstory here. I could just feel it when I spoke to you the other day. The conversion to Islam in an American way, a Muhammad Ali type way? Because I think we have different, particularly at this time of the world's history, we can have quite different views of what Islam is and what it represents.
Yeah.
And it represents, like many religions, it has many different facets and many different strands.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Islam is a very diverse religion. Sometimes in ways that people find great, other times in ways that people don't. Again, like any faith tradition.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I started attending university then I got a job teaching at part-time as an adjunct instructor at the University of Arizona. I was teaching classes on political science, and I was managing this academic consortium that brought together combat veterans who were students with students from war-affected regions to study conflict together. And then I got targeted by a Fox News campaign, and I ended up losing that academic job.
Oh, wow.
And so that's how I became a shoe salesman. So
hang on. So you were of Islamic faith when you were doing this academic work, and you got targeted by Fox News.
Yeah.
They were presumably saying, "Cause you're Islam bad, towelhead,
yeah.
you know, Haji bastard, etc."
Yeah.
And they hounded you from your job. So
Yeah.
you've been cancelled. Okay.
It was deeply ironic, and because like the whole reason I was doing the specific kind of scholarship I was doing, focused on national security issues, foreign policy issues, is because I come from a military family and a military community. Both of my parents were in the Army. My mom, my stepdad, my biological father was also in the Army. My grandfather served in 3 wars. He served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. I had a twin brother who lost his life in Afghanistan. This is what led me to doing the work I was doing to help other families avoid the kind of tragedy my own family was going through.
Were you suggesting they would avoid that tragedy by not serving?
No, not by not serving, but by helping policymakers have a better understanding of kind of what was happening on the ground in, say, in Syria or Iraq or any of these other theaters that people were.
And this is by no way means a judgment. Did you serve yourself? Ever come close to serving?
No, well, I almost, I came close to serving because after I got canceled by Fox News, I started working in this shoe store because it was actually hard to find in the town I grew up in. There's not a lot of, and then I was up for a management job at the place I was working, and they passed me over because they viewed me as overqualified and they thought I wasn't going to stick around.
Okay, so you've got a problem. You've got a problem. That's
so I was like, okay, well, I guess I tried not to. I wasn't going to do the Army thing like everyone, all my cousins, everyone was Army. I had thought, okay, maybe I'll try a different path. I was like, okay, it's not for me. I guess it's not for me. I guess I'm going to go into the family business. So I was going to join the military as an officer because at that point I already had college degrees. And but then I had an advisor who said, look, if you really want to join the Army, you should do that. But I think you have a lot of potential as a scholar. I think the big problem you have, though, is that you're someone who looks really weird on paper. And so when I applied to PhD programs, I got rejected from all of them. I only applied to the safe schools, and I got rejected from all of them. And she said, the reason you got rejected is because a lot of the safe schools are actually not safe for someone like you. You're someone who has really, again, most departments, they're looking for someone who fits a particular box that plays to the department's strengths, and they can see clearly what they're going to be doing 5 years from now,
This is the fascinating story about you, clearly. I'm glad my instincts haven't failed me. You should in every way be a flag bearer for the super woke.
Yeah.
You're Islamic, right? Okay, so religion outside. You're a man of colour, or a good minority, and you've been cancelled by the right wing.
Yeah.
So why aren't you out there with a, keffiyeh on, chanting from the river to the sea, you colonialist, misogynistic white bastards?
Yeah. Well, because as I was, after I got canceled, as I was kind of sitting there thinking, okay, how did my life get here? I realized that at least part of the story was that people like me, a part of the reason why the Fox News crowd was willing to believe the kind of wild picture of me that was being painted. Again, as someone who knows loss from war, who comes from a military family, military community, and so on, was because typically, though, people like me, to the extent that they engage with the Fox News crowd at all, which is not often, but when we do, it's usually in this kind of sneering, confrontational, condescending way. And so I responded by getting canceled by Fox by trying to engage more with the political right. So I started taking essays that I would have normally published somewhere like Al Jazeera or Salon, and I started pitching them instead to the American Conservative or the National Interest or the National Review.
Yes.
And they got, not only were they willing to publish them, but it turned out that a lot of those audiences were actually really eager to mix it up with someone from with a Muslim dude, a black dude, whatever, who's talking about these issues in a way that challenges. I mean, they're challenging essays, but they
genuine
weren't
debate.
like
What you said was, let's get into it.
yeah.
Let's get into it. Yeah, I love that.
But it also wasn't me going, meh, you're a bunch of racists. It was just, and so they were, and so going through the exercise of trying to like, okay, how do I talk about this contentious issue in a way that it will be compelling to someone who doesn't already agree with me? Going through that mental exercise helped me understand issues a lot more deeply. It led me to see kind of blind spots, assumptions I was taking for granted. Talking with the people in the comments, who disagreed with me also led me to notice things that I was getting wrong or things that I hadn't considered, And
arguing with people you disagree with is the only people you can argue with. It's almost, and also entering debate with the idea that that you're open to the idea that you're going to learn something and you might have to change your mind is an amazing way to be.
And it led me to rethink the other work that I was doing before. So like before, if I was trying to convince people not to bomb Syria, for instance, if I thought that was a bad idea, and what I would have done is I would have written an essay about why you shouldn't do that. I would have published it somewhere like Al Jazeera,
and it would have made no flipping difference.
Yeah, because it would have been all the bunch of people who already agree with me, and they would read the essay and they go, "Yeah, you're so smart. We're all so smart," and that doesn't do anything. And so after I started doing the other thing, after I started talking about a lot of these issues with people who didn't already agree with me, it changed the impact of my work. I had the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Martin Dempsey, the highest ranking military person in all of the branches of service, cite some of my novel statistics to explain why a no-fly zone in Syria probably wouldn't work as expected. The U.S. State Department has cited my work to explain U.S. policy in Syria. This is a kind of impact I would have never had preaching to the choir. And so it led me to kind of change. So now, no matter who I write for, kind of my basic approach is I try to say something that I think that audience needs to hear but doesn't want to hear. So if I write, I'm a columnist for The Guardian.
Which is such a great, if you're going to explain what good journalism is, it should reveal the truths that might be uncomfortable. We hold up the mirror, whatever it shows. Huge respect to you, can I just say, for taking that approach. It's a challenge this organisation and I have, is that we are largely banned, shadow banned, blocked, cancelled by the left of politics in New Zealand. And we're even cancelled to some extent by some of the right of politics in New Zealand. And I've tried to look for a reason or a consistency, and that is that we will not ask the questions they expect or that they want. It is simply that we are going to do our job.
You know what's terrible? There's this guy in the U.S.